My name's Doug Clemens.
Hi, Doug.
And we won't go around the room and get to know everybody. We'll get to do that after the event today. And Brent is going to kind of close us out this afternoon and tell us what the details of that are. So to begin, I'd like for us to open in a word of prayer. Go ahead. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity and privilege to be here today. The opportunity to expand and enhance our business by fulfilling our moral obligation to help feed the world. The privilege of standing here on this site today that was purchased by our ancestors decades ago. Their foresight and vision to clearly see what the company grew to be is the reason all of us are here today. Grant us wisdom as we embark on this exciting new venture, as we strive to operate in a way that pleases you, as demonstrated through our core values of ethics, integrity, and stewardship. Amen. So here we are, a year later, and 1 week than originally planned, to break ground on, believe it or not, the first ever greenfield project on this property. Once known as the Hatfield Packing Company, Hatfield Quality Meats, and today known as the Clemens Food Group. With us here today are key team members from Clemens Food Group, from Great Construction, our selected contractor, and 2 esteemed legislators from our state government. Representing District Number 12, I'd like to welcome Senator Maria Collette, sitting up here in the front. Also with us today, representing the 53rd District, is Representative Stephen Malgara. Welcome to both of you. Senator Collette and Representative Malgara were both instrumental in helping us receive a $215,400 workforce development grant through the DCED WebNet program to help train workers. And, drumroll, the big one, and a $2.5 million grant through the Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program. Thank you to both of you. Thank you to other Commonwealth today. We greatly appreciate that. So I am just unbelievably excited to begin this. Like I said, it's a year delayed, but here we are. Weather's cooperating. So I'm looking forward to beginning, and for those of you who know me, I'm also really anxious to complete it. So we were talking last night about the timeline, and I think I heard June of 22, Brian? But I'm very certain by the 1st of May it will be complete. I'm sure about that. Many of you know that we have outgrown and outlived our current production space across the street at the Hatfield plant. In 1946, when my grandfather and his brothers purchased the Hatfield Packing Company, that facility was approximately 50,000 square feet. So 50,000 square feet is hard for some people to relate, but we have some team members from Emmaus today. It's about the same size as Emmaus. So that's what the size facility was back then. So over the years, today that plant has grown to more than 1.2 million square feet. So we have grown, our product has been in great demand, and we have been able to increase our number of team members so that we can once again fulfill our responsibility of feeding the world. Needless to say, much of that existing plant back in 1946 still exists. Now we've been ripping and tearing and remodeling and adding on, but there's still a lot of that original plant that still sits there today. So the day has come to move outside the original walls of the Hatfield plant, and as I said at the beginning, for the first time in our company's history, build a new greenfield plant right here in Hatfield, Pennsylvania. About 5 years ago, the company did decide to build a new greenfield plant. But as many of you know, it was not located in Hatfield, it was in Coldwater, Michigan. And the size of that plant was more than 600,000 square feet. Pretty big deal. So it was a very long journey, and it was very tedious and scary. So the tedious part, was just the size and magnitude of it. But to me, the scary part was the $310 million that it cost. But we're really glad we did it. And sitting here today, today this Hatfield plant is processing over 11,000 hogs per day, and that's about the same number out of Coldwater, Michigan also. So we were tasked with completing a project with a scope and magnitude 5 years ago that we had never done before. So selecting a building partner was a critical decision that we had to make. And I personally kind of lost a lot of sleep over that whole process just because it was so new to each and every one of us. So we began that journey. We put out requests for information, we put out RFPs, we looked for safety records, we looked for references, we did a lot of site visits across the country, did a lot of interviews, a lot of industry intelligence, we met with our competitors, we did a project of the same kind of magnitude, and of course that list could go on and on. So when we began that process, we began with 30 companies that had the capability to do that project. And then the list obviously got narrow, so it went from 30 to 15, and 15 to 10. And then at the end of the day, there were two. There were two companies that we actually felt really good about and could end up completing the project. So it wasn't dead heat, these two companies were tied. After days of dialogue and debate, prayer and discernment, the decision was made. Great Construction was our company of choice. So you're probably wondering, what in the world broke the dead heat? How did you guys come to that decision? The answer is simple. The alignment of our values, our culture, and trust. Just that simple at the end of the day. So here we are today, ready to embark on our next journey with Great Construction. Well, please join me in welcoming Mr. Stephen Gray.
I'll be fast, just like we need to be fast on this schedule. Thank you, Doug, for the introduction. Real quick story, we were sitting in that field 2016, a few years back in Coldwater, Michigan, and I'll never forget it. I looked out in the audience like this, and there was a little girl, and I guess she was part of the sixth generation little girl, and she had a stuffed pig there with her. And it was, that was kind of the symbolism of the family and the spirit there was just something else. So thank you for telling that story. It was a wonderful story about how you all got to us, and we talked about it a little bit last night. You all gave us, there are two great gifts that you can give people, and they're both priceless, love and trust, right? And so you gave us trust, and I guess love came later, right? So thank you for that, and I just want to, for all of you all, the Clemens, this team, I want you to understand that from our point of view, what we see companies all across the country in North America, and now for us in Europe as well, is that what you all have is not common. The spirit that you all have is don't take it for granted. Maybe you all already know that, but it is definitely a spirit, and it's uncommon, and it leads to something that makes things like this very successful, and that is a true spirit of teamwork. A lot of projects get done every year in the United States, of course, but there are very few projects that are done with a true spirit of teamwork, and you all do a great job of leading that. And what comes from that, and what is important for us, is that we have emotional commitment. And it's not an emotional commitment to make a schedule or build a building. It's emotional commitment for you all to honor the team and to do our part. So I'm rapidly drawn to a conclusion. I want our team members to stand up. Doug Eversole back there. He's been with Gray for 30 years. Bharat, where are you? Bharat Singh? Bharat Singh? He's been with us for 5 years, and he's here because Eric said, if you want this job, you better, and that's the Coldwater job. If you want this job, you better hire that guy. So we hired that guy. So, and then Jake back there, you've seen Jake on site. He's 5 years, Jake?
3.
3. May seem like 5, right? Okay. So, but that's our team, and we're absolutely delighted to be a part of you all and to continue this. And I think I'm supposed to give it over to Brian. That's right. All right, Brian, right?
So I'm Brian Moyer. I'm part of the Clemens Food Group here, and part of the project team. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit more specifics of the building and its attributes, and kind of some of the things we did to get there. Building itself is a 308,000 square foot facility, which is about half the size of the cold water plant, for those of you that have seen this very big facility. Sometimes referred to as the RTE facility, but it's really a facility to process, cook, chill, and pack products. So the end result is RTE, but it's the full complement of the process. Sorry, raw, ready to eat RTE. Thank you. As far as capacities, it has capacity of about 145 million finished product pounds, which would be split up like 80 million pounds of smoked meats, which is like hams and ham steaks, bolognas, sliced lunch meats, etc. About 23 million pounds of pre-cooked sausage, patties and links, types of patties you get in a breakfast sandwich at Wawa or McDonald's, and 20 million pounds of sliced bacon. Some of the features of the facility, so Clemens Road is the road that you see the cars going back there. The building will be facing Clemens Road, has a beautiful entrance and customer experience center, with many of the same attributes that we have in our facility here. Be similar, it's not going to be the same, but similar types of finishes. High-end kitchen to prepare, display, serve meals to our customers and guests. Have offices for our senior leadership team, offices for the production people that will be working there, as well as the support people. And 150-person meeting room for large team member gatherings, shareholder gatherings, or community gatherings. From the team member perspective, there'll be separate team member entrances, and I'll talk about separation a few times, but separation of the raw side and the RTE side. We want to keep them separate for food safety reasons. But team member entrances, separate entrance for the raw side facility for people, and the RTE side. Open, spacious, well-lit locker rooms, restrooms, separate eating areas, served by a central food prep area, but totally separate areas. Team members enter the plant, separate entrances into the plant altogether. For the processing facility, kind of the process flow, in an old plant like this, the spaghetti diagram really looks like spaghetti, but the process it just goes in circles. Here, the process will start on the west end, or that side of the plant. So we'll be receiving it. We've got storage, raw processing, cook, chill, package, palletize, trailer, and out the door. Now, obviously, there'll be some circles in the middle, but very fluid, efficient flow of separation of the processes. As far as hygienic design, talking a little bit about that, there's really a focus in a plant like this on eliminating, or through construction design, eliminating any voids and harborages which make hard to clean areas. Materials of construction, stainless steel walls, stainless steel ceiling, stainless steel curbs, obviously all the equipment is, but there'll be virtually nothing there'll be no painted equipment in the process areas. It's virtually all stainless steel. Interstitial space above the production areas, so it's the production space about a 25-foot ceiling. And then above there's a walkable space where all the utilities run. So in an old plant, you go into, you see all the pipes and pipe runs and things like that. In a new plant, everything's above the ceiling, so it's a very clean ceiling, very clean and cleanable ceiling. As far as refrigeration systems, so all the refrigeration systems are sanitary designed throughout, but specifically in the RTE or the cook side of the plant, rooftop units with very high filtration, almost HEPA-type filters, welded stainless steel ducts, completely hygienic, totally washed down, very food safe. Another interesting thing we did, pressurization. So another thing that's important to high hygiene is to have your most sensitive areas the highest pressure. So air would always flow from your most sensitive area to your least sensitive area. So pressurization throughout the plant, every area is accounted for flowing in those directions. We designed a corridor above the RTE areas, so we inevitably bring a lot of guests and visitors and customers through. Taking outside people through your RTE areas is okay, but we prefer if you can show it to them without having to dance through. Then we have a corridor above all the RTE areas, so we can walk our customers down, they can view, they can see what we do all day, every day when nobody knows they're watching, right? So take them all through those areas and keep them out of the RTE space. As far as processing equipment, so a number of visits were made throughout the U.S., Canada. We spent some time in Europe looking at the types of equipment we wanted to put into the plant. And I won't talk about all the equipment, but some of the major equipment. We have a continuous system for the ham processing made by JDT, similar to what we have in the plant here, but as you have something, you learn where some weaknesses are and some enhancements. So we've got a better, more efficient, more food-safe, more robust system that we're putting in. Alcar smokehouses and chillers. That was a big decision, one of the single biggest expenses of the plant. We decided to go with Alcar after looking at the big 3 or 4 companies. They're very hygienic. Today, those of us that know, we use salt brine chillers. These are air chillers, so it eliminates all the potential issues with salt. It's high hygiene, and then it can be cleaned and steam pasteurized, and anything that needs steam pasteurized is certainly the most cleanable you can get. New cryovac equipment. Cryovac has new RTE designed cryovac equipment for RT space to go on with that. The most hygienic spiral freezer available. We looked at 3 or 4 different companies, and I feel that we are buying the best spiral freezer that's made in the world. And a lot of other things, right? But the other thing, in spite of all this, we've got a lot of room for growth. So we're building room for growth, we're building growth, but we've got a lot of extra space so that as our needs change, as our customers change, as the portion sizes change, we have the ability we have the space to be able to add those things, add systems like that into the plant. Enhanced food safety systems. Food safety is always a foremost concern. This new plant will have metal detection and X-ray detection on our finished craft products. Metal detection is very common. X-ray detection is not as common, but it's the best technology available. We're installing a surface pasteurization system, which after a product is packaged is a process to reduce your micro or make a food safe product. So we're installing a pasteurization system, and there's room for 2 more. We've left room for a high-pressure pasteurization system. I won't speak to the technology here today, but another technology for different types of products. Left space available for that when we get to that arena. That talks pretty much about the plant itself. The project team, Tim Weir, who's sitting here back and center, is our process and technical lead, and quite frankly, he's the anchor of the project. He's full-time on the project. He was a similar role at Coldwater, and not many people get to do this once, at Greenfield once. I've been waiting 35 years to do it, and I'm excited. Tim's on the second one here. So Tim is integral, and we spent a lot of time working together. I'm the project lead. I spend about probably, it flexes back and forth, but about 75% of my time on the project and 25% of the time on other things. Eric Patton here is our Senior VP of Growth. Ultimately, Tim and I are working for Eric on this. As far as SMEs, subject matter experts, a good portion of the people that are out here in the audience today have been part of this project. We've got operations folks, FSQA folks, warehouse purchasing, facilities and maintenance, all called in for their input on various phases of the projects that affect them. So this is a team effort, and looking ahead, it's going to be a team success. I did talk about the couple other partners, Inline Engineers, who are not here today, but they're helping us with a lot of the process engineering and they've been integral to the project. It's a subdivision, correct? A few other great people that weren't mentioned, they're not here today. I don't think they're sitting here, but Paul Corman is a senior project manager. He'll be up here about half the time. Max Biddle is the lead design architect, so he's doing all the drawing for this. And you'll see him from time to time. And then Sean Powell. Is Sean here? I don't know that he's here in the audience. Okay, that's right. He's always going to come. Sean is the senior site manager, and he will be ultimately here 5 days a week from now till the end. Timeline a little bit. In spite of the weather, we broke ground this week. We didn't break a lot of ground at the entrances, but we got to start. We've got a couple months of site work. Beginning of summer, we'll see steel being erected into the fall. In the fall is when we'll start installing the smokehouses. It's kind of the center of the plant. And we need to install them before the walls all go up. About a year from now, next January through June, we'll be installing all the processing equipment. And really the turnover from Greg and Clemens is June 1st. It may be earlier, we're going to shoot for getting earlier, Doug, but the contract date is June 1st. We begin commissioning and testing for the month of June, and then really July 5th is the stake in the ground. The Monday after, or the Tuesday after the 4th would be when we begin making sale of the product. Because of that, it's a growth project. We've got a lot of new equipment in the plant, and it allows us to get started and actually make products duplicate, kind of have some duplicate systems there with the plant. So we can get started here, and then we can work on moving systems from the Hatfield facility and Emmaus from there to here. So a transition time that should be painful for us, but it should not be painful for our customers. So the next 20 months, exciting times. Look forward to working with everybody on the team here. And then July 5th will be a big day. Thanks. I'll turn it over to Brian.
Okay, hello everybody. How you doing? Cold? Anybody cold? I'm getting a little cold. No, in all seriousness, thanks everybody for coming. One of the things that we wanted to do today was have an event that was for us, right? This is a project that is about the future, and it's our future together. And in a lot of ways is symbolic of our transition as a company. For those of you who don't know, I am part of our 5th generation, Doug is part of our 4th generation. And so we as a company are embarking on our own transition right now as we transition from 4th to 5th generation leadership. And so it's a big deal for us in that way. It's also a big deal for everybody here. There's already a lot of hours that have been put into the project, and there's a lot more hours that are still to come. I remember maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, we said, hey, it's probably time to build a new plant. And Mike Foodman's in the crowd. Mike's director of our sales finance team. And we said, oh boy, I guess we better get working on a sales plan. And believe it or not, that's a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 year sales plan. And the point of that is to say, once it's built, then it's time to start living into it. And so we wanted a mix of people today that represented not only those who have supported the project to this point, but also those who are going to carry it forward. And so thank you, Brian, for calling out the different groups we have, and thank you to everybody that made it a priority to be here. I want to say one more thing and then get to what we really want to get to, which is moving some dirt. We talk a lot about change, and change is good in some people's minds. Change is scary in some people's minds. And so everybody embraces change in different ways. And this project is change. It is. It's going to change how we look at manufacturing our products. It's going to change our capacities. It'll change where we have team members working. And so I know change is scary and can be scary. but I also want you to always remember our core values. And one of those core values is stewardship. And this project is about that stewardship core value, which is, we like to say, building a foundation for the future. And so while we are changing, we're doing it in a way that honors our core value of stewardship. And that's something that will never change, that core value. And so don't be too scared. It's going to be hard. Things are going to be different, but we're going to do it together, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. So thank you.